Good evening, Doctor. My name is Sharan Kumar, and today my group will be presenting on the topic Junk Food Addiction Harms Teenagers' Physical Health. In this presentation, we will discuss how excessive junk food consumption affects teenagers' health by increasing the risk of obesity, anemia, and cardiovascular disease. We will also explore practical solutions that can help encourage healthier eating habits among adolescents. Without further ado, let's begin our presentation.
My name is Archana and I will be presenting the first physical health problem discussed in our report, which is obesity among teenagers. Let's begin by looking at why obesity has become one of the most serious consequences of junk food addiction among teenagers. Nowadays, fast food such as burgers, pizza, fried chicken, sugary beverages and processed snacks are easily available and have become a regular part of many teenagers' diets. Because these foods are convenient, affordable and appealing, many teenagers choose them over healthier meal options. However, regular consumption of junk food comes with serious health consequences. These foods are typically high in sugar, saturated fat, salt and calories while providing very little nutritional value. As a result, teenagers often consume more calories than their bodies actually need. When this continues over time, the excess calories are stored as body fat, leading to unhealthy weight gain and an increased body mass index, also known as BMI. This concern is strongly supported by research. According to Singh and colleagues in 2021, a research involving 13,274 children aged between 9 and 14 years found that 93% consumed packaged foods more than once a week, while 68% regularly drank sugary beverages. These findings clearly indicate that unhealthy eating habits are becoming increasingly common among teenagers, which contributes to rising prevalence of obesity. What is even more concerning is that obesity affects much more than a person's appearance. Teenagers who are obese have a greater risk of developing hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease later in life. In addition, obesity reduces physical fitness, limits participation in sports and daily activities, and lowers self-confidence due to concerns about body image. As a result, both their physical health and emotional well-being may be negatively affected. Therefore, encouraging healthier eating habits and reducing junk food consumption from an early age are essential steps in preventing obesity and helping teenagers enjoying healthier lives in the future. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurulina binti Jani. So today I will continue the presentation about anemia and nutrient deficiency caused by junk food addiction among teenagers. So the main problem I want to discuss is anemia and nutrient deficiency. Many teenagers think that eating enough food is enough to stay healthy. However, the quality of the food is just as important. Junk food is usually high in calorie, sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats, but it contains very little iron, zinc, vitamin, and other essential nutrients. So when teenagers eat junk food regularly, it begins to replace healthy food such as fruit, vegetable, fish, meat, egg, and also dairy products. So as a result, their body do not receive enough nutrients that are needed for growth and normal body function. One of the most common nutrient deficiency is iron deficiency, which can lead to anemia. Anemia happens when the body does not have enough iron to produce healthy red blood cells. Red blood cells carry oxygen around the body. Having fewer healthy red blood cells mean less oxygen reach the muscle and organ. So, according to the article, about 27% of teenagers in developing countries are affected by anemia. So, the frequent junk food consumption is associated with a higher risk of iron deficiency and anemia because unhealthy food often replace nutrient-rich meal. So the evidence show that overeating habit are not only related to obesity but also to hidden nutritional problem. Because of anemia and nutrient deficiency, teenagers may experience several health problems. They often feel tired easily, weak, less energetic because their body are not receive enough oxygen. They may also have poor concentration, so it make them more difficult to focus during lesson and affecting their academic performance. In addition, nutrient deficiency can weak the immune system, causing teenagers to become sick more easily. Since teenager is an important stage of growth, this problem may also affect their physical development and overall health in the future. So, in conclusion, junk food addiction does not only increase the risk of obesity, it also associates with nutrient deficiency and anemia, which can affect teenager energy, concentration, immunity and growth. Therefore, teenagers should reduce junk food consumption and choose balanced meals that contain enough iron, vitamin and other essential nutrients to maintain a good health. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Fahira Fahito Pradana binti Muhammad Afandi. Now I would like to continue the presentation by discussing how junk food addiction can lead to cardiovascular disease among teenagers. First of all, cardiovascular disease refer to a group of conditions that affect the heart and blood vessels. Some common examples include heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. Although these diseases are usually associated with adults, unhealthy eating habits that begin during teenage years can significantly increase the risk of developing cardiovascular problems later in life. One of the main reasons is that junk food contains high amount of saturated fat, salt, and added sugar. These ingredients may make food taste better, but they can seriously affect our heart health when consumed too frequently. Let's begin with salt. Excessive salt intake can increase blood pressure. When blood pressure remains high for a long period, the heart has to work much harder to pump blood throughout the body. This places extra strain on both the heart and the blood vessel, this increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. Another important factor is saturated fat. Diets that are high in saturated fat increase the level of low-density lipoprotein or LDL cholesterol, which is often known as bad cholesterol. When LDL cholesterol builds up inside the arteries, it forms fatty deposits, a process called atherosclerosis. As these deposits become larger, the arteries become narrower, reducing blood flow to important organs such as the heart and brain. If blood flow is blocked completely, it can result in a heart attack or a stroke. To help you understand this better, just imagine the arteries as water pipe. When grease builds up inside a pipe, less water can flow through it. It is the same way as cholesterol builds up narrow the arteries, making it more difficult for blood to circulate efficiently throughout the body. Therefore, teenagers who regularly consume junk food are not only affecting their current health, but also increasing their chances of developing serious cardiovascular disease in the future. This shows why adopting healthy eating habits from a young age is extremely important. In conclusion, limiting junk food consumption and choosing a balanced diet rich in fruit, vegetable, whole grain, and lean protein can greatly reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease and help teenagers maintain a healthy heart throughout their life. Thank you. I will now pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Is Nurul Iman Inshira. And now, I'd like to move on to the next major physical health effect of junk food addiction among teenagers, which is poor physical development. To give you a brief overview, I will be discussing how missing out on essential nutrients directly undermines a teenager's growing body, specifically focusing on musculoskeletal health and overall physical fitness. To begin with, we must understand that adolescence is a highly critical stage of rapid physical growth. To support healthy bone growth, muscle development, and overall physical fitness, a teenager's body heavily relies on sufficient intake of protein, calcium, vitamin D, and other essential micronutrients. This vital developmental requirement is emphasized by Sawyer et al. In 2018. However, the reality of junk food addiction is that it creates a damaging replacement effect. Frequent consumption of fast food and highly processed snacks replaces these highly nutritious, necessary meals with food that are high in empty calories but severely deficient in nutrients. Consequently, this severe lack of nutrients directly threatens the teenager's physical structural integrity. As revealed by review study conducted by Movasa et al. In 2020, poor dietary quality during these formative adolescent years is strongly associated with poorer musculoskeletal health. Specifically, it results in lower bone density and weakened muscle function. Instead of developing strong, resilient bodies, teenagers addicted to junk food risk facing stunted structural development and compromised long-term physical performance. In addition to structural skeletal weakness, this nutrient deficiency takes a massive toll on a teenager's day-to-day energy. According to the World Health Organization in 2024, a diet lacking essential vitamins and minerals leads to drastically reduced stamina and plummeting energy levels. Think about the cycle this creates. A teenager eats low nutrient junk food, experiences a crash in energy, and consequently becomes increasingly lethargic and less active. This makes them far less likely to participate in sport, physical education, or any outdoor activity that are crucial for building cardiovascular strength and motor skill. Therefore, maintaining a balanced diet during adolescence is absolutely paramount not just for immediate physical performance, but for safeguarding their long term well being. Well, that brings us to the end of my section. To summarize, junk food addiction strips teenagers of the fundamental structural blocks like calcium and protein needed to develop healthy muscle and bones, leaving them with low stamina and impaired physical fitness. Thank you for your attention and interest. Now, I would like to hand the floor over to Fahira, who will explain how this same addiction damages the heart and leads to cardiovascular disease.
Now, I will be presenting solution 1 to address the issue of junk food addiction among teenagers. As we have learned, junk food addiction is becoming a serious health concern. Therefore, an effective way to reduce this problem is by encouraging schools to promote healthier eating habits among adolescents. To begin with, schools can play an important role because teenagers spend a large portion of their day there. This means that the school environment has a strong influence on their eating behavior and lifestyle choices. One effective strategy is to provide nutrition education. Schools can educate students about balanced diets, the importance of essential nutrients, and the long term health risks associated with consuming excessive fast food. When teenagers understand how unhealthy food affects their body, they are more likely to make wiser food choices. In addition, schools should ensure that healthier meals and snacks are easily available in school canteens. Foods that are high in sugar, salt, and saturated fat should be limited, while nutrition alternatives such as fruit, vegetables, whole grains, and balanced meals should be promoted. When healthy foods become the easiest option, students are naturally encouraged to adapt healthier eating habits. Furthermore, the article explains that reducing junk food consumption requires cooperation from multiple parties, including schools, families, government agencies, and even social media platforms. School can collaborate with parents by organizing health campaigns, nutrition workshops, and awareness programs to reinforce healthy eating habits both in school and at home. The article also highlights that effective advertising regulation and consistent nutrition can help adolescents reduce their dependence on fast food and develop healthier lifestyle for the future. These combined efforts create a supportive environment that encourages positive behavioral change. In my opinion, I strongly agree that school should take the lead in promoting healthy eating habits. Education shapes not only students' academic knowledge but also their daily lifestyle choices. By providing healthy food options and continuous education, students can help teenagers prevent and other health problems while building lifelong healthy habits. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Finally, I would like to conclude our presentation. Throughout this presentation, we have discussed the serious impact of junk food addiction on teenagers' physical health. As presented by my group members, excessive consumption of junk food can contribute to obesity, anemia, poor physical development, and cardiovascular disease. These health problems may not only affect teenagers during adolescence, but also can increase their risk of developing long-term health complications in adulthood. Therefore, preventing junk food addiction requires a collective effort. Teenagers should make healthier food choices. Parents should encourage balanced eating habits at home. Schools should promote nutrition education, and the community should continue supporting healthy lifestyles. In conclusion, every healthy choice we make today is an investment in a healthier future for the next generation. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.